online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey there, Dominion fans! Welcome back. It's time to talk about Dominion. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. We are talking about Dominion Season 2, Episode 9, The Seed of Evil.
Yes.
The Seed of Evil. I feel like you have to say it with that deep voice. But guys, let me introduce my fantastic panel for tonight. As always, next to me, Jackie B.
Holla.
Borowski.
Holla, holla.
And across the table, I am so happy to welcome back friends of the show, writers Sean Crouch and Alyssa Clark, who wrote tonight's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having us.
We had nothing better to do. I mean, we love being here.
And thank you to all the fans in the chat room. Thank you for joining us on this Labor Day weeknight.
Is my man Hank in there?
We'll see. I'm sure
we'll
he's.
see. Right.
If he's not, he'll be listening.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
You have a man?
So,
Hank writes reviews.
Yeah.
He writes
I know.
reviews.
Love
Oh,
him.
sweet.
Yeah.
so how do you guys feel now that we're deeper into the season?
I feel we're finally rolling. What we were excited about in 204 when we were here, because we knew where we were going with the episodes. I think each episode gets better and better as we go. So for me, it's really exciting to finally get reveals, and we get reunions, and we get all the things we've been wanting. We want our cast back together, and we get it, by now in 209.
And also, I can't remember anything that happened, so it's every week. I'm like, yeah, that
You're like, I wrote that. Good job.
was good job, Gabriel.
Good job, me. Self 5.
It really is like a big episode. I guess a turning point to have the teams, like, because we've split this. Like,
Right.
like when we were like 3 or 4 episodes in, the teams were like all up. Michael's over here and Alex no more over here.
And most importantly, we were wondering what would happen to the love quadrangle, which we discovered in this episode.
Well,
We've seen the beginning.
Start the beginning of the discovery.
Yes.
I like the love rhombus.
Yeah,
I
the
believe.
love rhombus. It's becoming more rhombusy because it's going to get distorted.
Yes.
Now that they're all
And
back
then it's
together.
just going to become a line.
What is that?
I should have paid more
Translate
attention in
to.
math class. Anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't that just become like 2? Like it's just like really simple.
That's
I don't know.
that's
Wait.
that's
I don't
just
do
love.
math either.
Wait. If you have 2 points, it makes a line.
Yeah,
I remember that.
That's just called love.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what number you are.
1.
You need up?
But so I mean, in this
What's going on?
down.
Oh, that's loud.
In this episode, we got so many things. I wanted to first dive into Julian's storyline.
Yes,
Julian
let's
and
talk
Gabriel.
about that one.
This is again just the show's driving stuff forward. Like we're not just sitting on our hind legs, like waiting for things. I'm glad that we dealt with Jackie. I don't know how you feel because you guys like know how everything's planned out. But Jackie, how did you feel about just getting the final attempt to take over Gabriel's body?
I was pulled in by the bait and switch. That's what happens to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, he took over his body, because that's it's such a good thing for an actor to kind of play that line, and he did it so well. And I was like, he took over his body, and then I was like, oh no, he didn't. Just kidding.
No, but he did it. I mean, Carl did such a fantastic job. I mean, and when the darkness entered him, he played it differently. I mean, he became a different guy.
Yes.
And so I understand why people were confused. They're like, is there a little bit of Julian still, a little bit of Lyrae still in him? But no, I mean, that's what the reflection, and it was pretty quick, too.
Yeah.
That's where the reflection showed, is that Gabriel had possessed him. After he expelled Julian, he then possessed him to make him,
And we specifically put in that reflection in 204. That Jacque scene, which stood by itself in 204, when he possessed Jacque and then looked in the windshield and saw himself, we specifically put that in for the payoff in 209.
Well, and he also does it to Manathas. He does it to Pete, too, which originally, just by the way these things work, was originally a scene that was written in the beginning of 209. So the Pete possession was the beginning of the story. Like Julian, comes in with the amphora, but because of the way we have to, the process of writing, that ended up at the end of 208, which was written by Jerry, Shandy, and Harley, and they kind of took it and made it their own, and so that was also just an indication of what was going to happen to Julian.
And I love that speech he has where he's basically saying, I've been through all these amazing things. I'm
Wait,
like,
do you want me to do it? Because it's my favorite thing I've ever written.
Yeah.
Once again, Carl was I really loved that. I don't know. I think I wrote it listening to Hans Zimmer at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I was just and you
that was Vangelis. That was the Blade Runner.
Totally, ripped it off the Blade Runner. But whatever. I called it an homage, and I loved it. And he just embodied it. He made it so much bigger and better than anything I can imagine.
He totally owned it.
He did. I would have to point out, though, I love all some people have made some amazing things on Tumblr and stuff. And the last word, though, and I did check it, because I didn't know if Carl had changed it or not, and he says, "You thought you could be me, not beat me." It's you thought you could be me. But, I mean, I understand why people think it's beat. It doesn't really matter, but just in case any nerds out there really care, it's be me, not beat me.
It works both ways, but
it really does.
But it's more powerful, I think, as he's being him.
Right. I mean, it's the words I wrote, which makes it way more powerful, right? Yeah. At 3 a.m. in my stupid little office,
But
I actually thought it was, sorry, not to cut in, but I actually did think it was be me.
Yeah.
Because he literally wants to get into his body.
He wanted to be he wants to be an archangel. I mean, that's what Julian wanted to be.
Yeah, that's what I figured it was, because that's Julian's ultimate goal. Is I think his biggest fear is that he doesn't want to be able to be cast into the outer sphere again.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the outer sphere. To me, I'm not sure how you guys sort of approached it, because this is a question that I was discussing with somebody on Twitter. Is the outer sphere, as I read it, is this world's hell? In a sense, because in this world where demons are it's not demons, it's just lower angels.
Right.
Hell and heaven are more abstract concepts, and the outer sphere is that sort of hell, is hell as we think of it.
Yeah.
I think in the room, I remember Vaughn had definite ideas about it. Was it's like the darkness, that you're farther away from God, and for the angels, being closer you could be to God in the warmth and the light. And as you were a lesser angel, or you got cast out, and not all of them were cast out, just for some were created, they're farther in the darkness. And I remember when I was raised in my stupid Lutheran religion, they used to talk about hell being darkness, and I didn't really understand that. I don't understand any of it, but it was, you're far away from God's grace, I guess.
The absence of God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like being out of bourbon. I think is what it's
But
like.
yes, I think your analogy, I think that works perfectly.
Yeah, I mean,
that world.
It's something, because you're wondering what the worst thing that could happen to these people, especially someone like Julian, who has lived forever as an angel. What does he fear the most? Well, he fears that death again.
Yeah, particularly because he's tasted it before, right? I mean, he was up there. He wasn't an archangel, but he was a higher angel. So he was very close to God, and he got to, have his wings and have a body, and then that got taken away from him because he's a sociopath as an angel, and he wants that again. And I would like to say Simon Merrill's, when he was doing his part of that scene, really, he had a little adamant moment that I thought was fantastic. A fellow Brit who, I don't know if he knew he was channeling Adamant, but when I watched him, I was like, oh my God, it was really wonderful. Two of my favorite things in the world there.
And obviously we're hitting on the mirroring Julian to Noma as well with the wings.
Yeah.
And the importance of the wings and how she lost her wings versus how he, the difference between honor. And
Everybody wants
for the last line.
Oh, that's super clever.
Yeah. Everybody wants wings. Who doesn't want wings? Whether it's like...
They can protect you from fire. They can break down walls.
They can, cut things because they're apparently super...
Yes.
Briathos.
Yeah. You can just do so many things. I mean, there's Angel in the X-Men was always one of my favorite characters. I'm like, it's not even a power. It's just really cool to look at.
But what if you're like sleeping in bed and you like sleep on your back, and then you have like a really cool dream, and then your wings pop out, and you're like,
pop out of
and
bed.
then it's like you fling the cat across the room, and
You better hope that you can like just tuck it into nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
It would look like the scene with Johnny Depp in Nightmare
on Elm Street.
where
That's
it's
so good. Yeah, right
up
through
on
the ceiling.
Yeah.
but I loved a lot of the play in this. In an infinite universe, never is a useless concept.
Such a great line. That's a great
It was.
It's pretty good.
Who wrote that? Did you steal that from?
I really like that line. I didn't steal it from
It's a great
anyone.
line. That is a great line. That should be in reviews as a great line.
But
That's
it's
all Alyssa.
the play between the two of them, like through the scene where he's like taking the amphora, which is God's wrath, like distilled into, I guess, a liquid. It's like he
It's very
took.
viscous.
For now.
I like that it had like an eyedropper,
Yes.
like in the top.
And that was cool. That was like Darren. That was production. Production came up with that
Darren
whole
Sarafian,
idea.
our producing director.
Yeah. Talking to Vaughn and things, I think that they came up with sort of that cool. All the amphora have a different key that's like instead of just being a key, it's like the top and then the eyedropper. So that,
It wasn't
they did a great
originally.
job.
It wasn't exactly a dropper. It was a needle that was going to go through the eyeball.
No, it was not. That's super gross. Hillary, I swear it wasn't going to ever do that.
I can hear the like pitch. What if it was a needle? That was like, no, never. But I guess when I saw the drop go in, I was like, oh, that's just going to make him like more powerful now. So what was it?
Well, does anger make you powerful?
Yes.
Probably makes Gabriel more powerful. I mean,
Makes the Hulk powerful.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
It does. I mean, it can make you powerful, but it also there's a cost as well.
it's also, I mean, it's emotion, like that level of emotion just like pushes you forward when you might break. So to have something like wrath fueling you is enough to push past the like, oh, well, I could give it. Especially the idea that the host body, as their willingness affects whether the angel can be evicted or not. And so if Gabriel really, really doesn't want to be possessed,
Which you guys talked about last week in 208 with some of the angels bouncing off.
Yes.
In the General Ryzen flashbacks.
Yeah.
It's similar.
I'm liking these flashbacks. We had the one in this episode to the wars, essentially. The Legion film.
yeah, we'll
Although-
absolutely get into Arica and all of her backstory. But so at the end, it looks like we're back to Dark Gabriel, but even further Dark Gabriel.
And I know, we've all been on the same path you guys have been on of redeeming Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And that we're all like, oh, we understand. Forget the whole I killed 7 billion people.
Right.
At first. But other than that he's come around, that he's learning from his mistakes. And Michael, as we showed in the flashback in season 1, he also killed a whole bunch of people. He went flood, but now he's the hero of the show. And like, oh, maybe Gabriel can be that. And now we get to this point with the darkness, and that was where we twisted it again. We twist him over this way, and then we twisted the knife.
Right. It's also, the question of free will. I mean, if he now has God's wrath in him. So, I mean, is it Gabriel? Is it the wrath? What is fueling him? Is it, has it become a part of him?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I also like the idea that because we see these characters that are all powerful, but then you have to bring in human elements so that the audience can relate to them. And he has this moment where he's jealous of Alex, basically like, oh, I guess Alex is his brother now, which I like that moment because I could relate to it. I was like, I've had, we've all had situations where people feel like, oh, well, this person's taken my place and now I'm upset about it. And so you're like, I can see why he's upset. I know he's taken it to the extreme level, but I can see why he's upset.
And he knows how much Michael loves Alex because of how much he loved David.
Yes.
So he knows how true that love is.
Yeah,
and that's what he's envious of.
Definitely. I remember Becky really talking about that. Becky, another one of our producers and writers.
She wrote 3 and 6, and the upcoming 11 she
which
wrote
is fantastic.
Katie Grohl,
I remember Becky really wanting to talk about that with Alex and keeping that relationship alive, and I think it really came through and gave it good motivation.
Well, it's been an interesting journey with Gabriel as an audience, because he was our bad guy for season 1, and then towards the end we start to like sort of feel for him, and then he's the bad guy again coming into this season, and then we're like, oh, but look at his like horrible past where he
And
like
look at
had a
Julian.
kid.
Julian's so bad.
Yeah, and that's way worse.
Julian worse. He's stealing bodies.
He's got an army.
Yeah.
I still trust him.
Julian.
You trust him because you're in love with.
I don't got love. I just think he's a really good actor.
Lust.
But then, we get reminded in this about David and like Julian trying to push the idea it was Michael who didn't catch him, and sort of feeling like with wrath in him, this is where your wrath is going to be pointed. But now that we side with Gabriel, we like him a little bit. He had a weird dream orgy thing, so we're like, that guy's doing great.
I think that's officially called the Carnival of Flesh.
Yes. Jerry Shandy.
Carnival of Flesh. Yeah.
That's an AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
It is.
But now it looks like he's going to be our big bad again.
Yes, but Julian's still around.
Julian is still around, but if Gabriel is the one that has the...
You guys are like,
Well, I will say that the thing he had at the end we will call the season 3 box.
Yeah. Which we actually...
Hashtag Renewed Dominion if you want to see the season 3 box.
Season 3 box.
Oh my God.
Hashtag
Renewed
Renewed Dominion, because we actually, we've had a whole discussion about not just that box, but it all ties into like Helena and everything. So,
But yes, Julian is still around.
Yeah, he's not dead.
And it does tie into Helena, ultimately.
Cool. Oh, cool. Wheels are spinning.
I like that there's an introduction of a new mystery here because it's like, well, what is this box?
And it's specifically in the Eureka episode.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
why. So we actually do talk about these things ahead of time.
So yeah, I think I wrote it down. I just called it. Julian has Julian has a box of life. And then goes into a hidey hole.
That's exactly what she wrote.
That's kind of it, yeah.
Exit stage left.
Or stage down.
Stage down.
I thought that the box, like the light, I assumed it somehow is like healing him. We know that he's like, he even says like he's cut in half. He just got run through with a sword. As a dyad, he's very like resistant to death, I guess, but that one's pretty bad. Jacque, what do you think is coming? As far off as it may or may not be, what do you think is coming for Julian? Is he?
I'm afraid to do predictions with these guys here, but I will say
No, we love that actually.
We do love it.
Okay.
I love predictions.
I will say that I feel because he's a dyad, maybe this means that the human part of him dies. That's my prediction.
Okay.
That's my prediction with that box.
That's a really good idea. Just write it down.
I sort of
5%.
I sort of have two things that are floating around in my brain. That like one is it's another amphore that's I want to say it's whatever the equivalent of God's light would be. If it's like I don't know if it could be like a piece of God or like however that would work that he keeps in like a cigar box
Or the Star of David.
I heard
Which piece would it be?
one of my favorite theories, someone that is at my house thought it was a piece of creation. Which I thought that was a really cool theory.
I do like that.
Which piece is it again?
The number 4.
Okay.
that's a
Creation
really,
piece number 4.
That's a really cool idea. Now I'm thinking like what if it's like the Star of Bethlehem or something? That could be cool. Or I had another
I think we went to
These
lunch.
are great. I love
Yeah,
this.
I think we went to lunch right after this discussion, so I don't remember.
this was
good idea.
This was the wild out there one that I have to just throw out because it's like if it's insane. So sure, why not? Because it has like a glow similar to the glow that the angel souls have. Mm-hmm. What if it's like the angel soul that he's in love with, and he's like waiting for the perfect body so they can be archangels together,
or so that they can meld into their own new dyad.
That'd be a triad.
Triad, yes.
Well,
And then they'd be... Okay.
So
and then we'll have Yakuza.
A polyangel?
triad.
Like a polyangel type thing?
Yes.
Going on? Okay. Like it.
It's like being John Malkovich. There's just like 8 people living in his head.
In Octad.
Octad.
Be good.
But
We're just gonna mush all the main characters into one
this
body.
is season 7. Season 7 Dominion.
Season 7 is like United States of Terra meets Dominion.
Meets Herman's head.
But so before we get into everything else that's going on in Vega, and as our characters get to Vega,
Who wants to plug something?
I do.
Yes.
Well, I want to plug because like we some of the shows. Excuse me. On the network, you may remember us talking about Maria Menounos has a new show coming up called Dance Battle America that people could try out, and the show is set to air on September 14th. That's just in 1 week.
Let's do that. We dance battle in the room.
Yeah.
I don't want to see.
They had a whole. She had a whole. This started because she was on Dancing with the Stars, and then they did a whole Instagram campaign where they just literally like were taping people dance battling. So you could do that.
I love it.
Dance
with
battling is awesome. There used to be a show called Dance 360, which was Dance Off the... What's that?
I'm down. I'm watching. That's all I'm saying.
It started 2 years ago on Instagram, and now it's America's chance to dance.
I'm very excited about it, actually. I'm going to watch it immediately as soon as it's on.
Yeah, so it's 8 families have been...
Immediately as soon as it's on.
8 different families have been chosen to come to LA and battle. It's going to be epic. Set your DVR now. It's called Dance Battle America, and it's going to air on ABC Monday, September 14th, right after Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, see, I don't have to DVR it because I'm going to watch it immediately.
Right, live.
Live, like you should watch Dominion.
Right, live, and buy those products.
We have products?
I don't know.
Are there products? I want
Dominion.
No, I want Dominion products. I'm just saying, like, Lexus.
I think Angel's shampoo would be.
I would buy all
It's
the
like a
Dominion.
halo of hair.
Yes.
The ads right there.
It's right there.
Universal marketing.
There you go.
Get off your lazy asses. No, it's not. But I would love Dominion swag. Like that would be cool. But so let's dive into Noma and Alex and Michael. Because they're sort of running.
Michael's having some sort of problems.
Yeah, he keeps
some sort
fainting.
of falling problems.
He keeps fainting and seeing
before we talk.
You have a question?
Why did you think Michael fainted before we talk about it?
I have 2 thoughts.
Okay.
My first thought was that it was tied to Gabriel because of what was happening to him. Okay. And I know before that because they're twins, that they have been affected. So even though the shots cutting in were of Mallory, I thought, okay, maybe he's just going there because that's his happy place. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of changed my mind in the end because we had the man in the yellow hat who, yes, I realize he does not have a yellow hat, but we have...
I love the Curious George reference. Keep going with the man in the yellow hat.
We totally talked about that.
I love it.
So the man in the yellow hat shows up and we know he's the prophet, and I thought, okay, well maybe it's the man in the yellow hat calling him because Alex was told by the man in the yellow hat to go east, and that's where Mallory is.
Alabama. We did say Mallory Alabama in the first episode. I'm just letting you guys know.
We talked about moving it to Texas though because South Africa looks like Texas.
It looks like West Texas.
Yeah, we had a lot of people send us the maps. Thank you to everyone who sent us the map.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that was going to send you a map after last week. I'm just saying.
It would be on the Gulf.
And this week we saw La Jolla, not San Francisco, La Jolla.
We talked about.
So you were right about that.
But we
were close,
Oh, we didn't talk. So okay, I have things to say about the Eureka thing, but we talked about San Francisco in the script, but I think it cut out.
We actually discussed San Francisco in the script too.
Well, you could talk about it more, but you know, the thing that it wasn't super clear, I don't think, just it happened so quickly, is that it was when Michael grabbed Alex's arm, his tattoo.
Touches the tattoo. Which
that tells you where to do things.
I think someone on Tumblr actually
did see that it's that specific tattoo, which we're going to get back to, which is going to explain. It's going to tie everything together.
The one that we've sort of done all season. We've kind of just done one tattoo.
We've done one tattoo all season.
Yeah. The one's like a circle and there's like a line, like a compass almost.
Yeah, the one that talks about Lyra and Vega.
Yeah.
Lyra, Vega, yeah.
So that's been cleared up, guys.
Sort of.
I assumed it was like somehow like the prophet either meddling intentionally or like just some like if like by the end I'm like thinking he's wandering back into the town, so maybe just because Michael got like sacrificed there, that forms a weird connection.
Well, I'm not saying there isn't more connection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying it was when it actually happened is when he touched Alex's arm. That was
the first time. It's the first time he's touched the
trigger that triggered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as they're running, we got all of that. And they
run through the dormant-ish army.
Yes. Yes. Originally, that army, and we just, sometimes you just don't have enough money for everything you want to do. We wanted them to be, basically, it was just going to be sand, between Vega, the walls of Vega and outside, and maybe some sort of bumps in the sand, but we didn't know what those were. And then, coming up out of the sand would then be these dormant, in stasis 8 balls. We just couldn't do it. We also thought about putting them in a basement, like all just packed into a
there are old ruins around Vega's walls, and that they kind of had to go through them. And
that was our second version, and we just couldn't afford those versions, so we went with that was the version that we had.
Yeah,
it made sense though. It made sense because we knew the army was dormant, and it was explained. We knew the army was dormant. Before already.
Look, production has to deal with a lot more shit than we do, because we like get to sit in a room and be like,
just make up stuff.
Explosions,
everybody's flying,
and
then 1,000 extras come in the battle,
and then they're like, we have one gun and $5,
and 3 guys laying on the ground camping. We're just gonna film,
and you can't fire the gun because that's a whole other thing.
So they have to deal with all our crap.
But so it's at this point, like, we get back to Vega, which is even more of a mess this week.
Vega has 3 different or 5 different problems going on at once.
There's a civil war. There's an outside queen trying to take the city for herself.
Then you got Julian's army trying to come in and take the city.
Yeah, Gabriel, formerly on his own, wanted to come in and take the city, but now he's got a different army behind him.
And then William Wheel thinks he's Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
We now have 2 chosen ones in the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they
both have. Prophet.
Are you sure? False?
Uh-oh.
They both have markings.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not. I don't think William has not lied this season at all. He is the opposite of David Wheel. He is what a fantastic job Luke is doing, right? He's great. But
I love that moment, though, where David thinks, he looks around, he's like, can you see him too? I was like, yes.
Yeah. Good job.
It was great to see William Wheel back and to get them interacting.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm glad that didn't have to get drawn out. Just get them together.
Yeah. We had to get these reunions going because we've been waiting all season for these people to get back together.
Yes.
Yeah.
On both sides of the dime.
But so my thought on William Wheel at this point, I still think he's a dyad. Like it adds up in that, like, how the hell did he survive? He's like, I wonder if he's a dyad that, like, if the angel's like taking a back seat to let him think he's just human enough so that they could sneak in and then light up the city.
Like a Manchurian candidate dyad?
Like a Trojan dyad.
Oh, okay.
A Trojan horse dyad.
A Trojan wheel.
Trojan wheel.
There you go.
He's a completely different person.
Yeah, I mean, and he keeps saying, like, I used to be William Wheel. He doesn't say Dad. Nope. He says David.
Exactly. We were very careful not to ever call him father or David in this, or Dad in this.
Yeah.
In this episode, it's always David. I love your guys' theory.
Yeah, it's super fun.
He is different though because he had he's like murdering people, but B, he has.
But that guy had a really nice coat. So.
By the way, to answer your question from last week, there is an entrance that I believe you even wrote one version of it, of William entering the city, and why that guard didn't go to Claire immediately and say, William's here, he's dead.
Yeah,
we weren't able to film it again for budget reasons, but that was another guard that ends up, in a
It was a callback to how Briathos got in the city.
Yeah,
we had a whole, once again, production had to deal with our very expensive, like in the tunnels, this whole process, and then William did the same thing and kills the guard and
killed the guard and entered the city.
I have to say, like, we had so much story this season that a lot of it got left up. We just didn't have time for it, and 25%. William had. I mean, I love that guy. I think I might. I mean, he might be my favorite character this season, and a lot of that's based on the stuff that we never got to do. We had
him in a convenience store. Just one episode, it was just him in a convenience store
with this woman,
one other woman who was dying.
That he had shot, and he shot her husband. And it's sort of like her redemption, kind of in a way. And we just had a lot of stuff that we didn't get to do. Just as it just happens with production.
But it keeps it mysterious for you guys.
Yes.
So you say, oh, maybe he was this, rather than us saying, yes, he is this. In episode 5.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's better because we want to keep guessing. We want to keep guessing so we can get a season 3.
Yeah, this is my fun. Me yelling out insane things is my favorite part of doing these after shows. Like, you guys in the channel can call me insane all you want. I'm going to keep doing it.
Good. No, it's awesome.
I love it. I love. That's why I love watching the show.
It's no more insane than the stuff that we yell out and yell at each other.
Yeah.
That's probably why I like this show, is because like you go the insane places.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a lot of freedom to do that, which is really fun.
Yeah. Well, people are talking about who William could be. Andrew Fedge said William could be a prophet, just not
someone
God's
wrote the
prophet.
Antichrist.
Yeah. Stargazer says he could be ... the Antichrist. I mean, right from the beginning of the show, William Wheel and Alex were butting heads. They both wanted the same thing.
Yes.
Claire. So it would work. It would totally work. I'm avoiding looking at you guys because I don't want to spoil myself.
I'm saying it's the clues are there. The clues are all there. Going back to season 1. One worked with Michael. One worked with Gabriel. All in season 1. I mean, in season 2, there are clues to who these people are in the first and second episode, even in Mallory.
I hope my DVR didn't delete that. But yeah, so there's a lot there. I'm really excited to see what William Wheel does. I like the bartender in this episode, though.
I do.
Savior's good for business.
Yeah.
And he's warmed up to him.
Yep.
Initially, he was not going to serve him.
But he got money.
Yeah, he's got money. And he brings in money. Religion brings in money.
It's true.
Brings in a lot of money.
It's true.
Yeah. We got to make sure we stock up on poker chips.
Yes.
For the future.
I like that. I like that poker chips are the money.
Yeah, that's fun, too.
Either that or bottle caps, and they wouldn't let me steal from Fallout, so.
I think I've said the word fun like 57 times so far tonight.
This is a fun episode.
It's super fun.
That's okay. I had a catchphrase. I don't even remember what it is, which is a good thing because I kept saying whatever it was.
Probably more clever than it's super fun.
Let's talk about David Wheel's former cohort, Arica.
Oh, Arica. I thought you were going to talk about Zoe, who was killed, and I'm upset with you guys.
I know.
I think we call her Rika, but you guys can call her whatever you want. So just so you don't
we call her Arica.
Arica. Okay.
But we have an Erica. Erica is our script coordinator.
Right. And I've just given up. I call her Arica too.
But she also called Arica at the party Erica, which I love that she just incorporated herself too.
To clarify for anybody who's wondering, it's Arica.
Yes.
Arica. I loved your Zoe theories and what was going to happen in the revolution with Zoe. I love all that.
I mean, in this episode, it kind of solidified
she was dead?
It solidified it.
After she was dead.
Yeah. I have this whole vision for her now that she's died.
Fanfic. Her and Zoe fanfic. It's really good.
Necrophilia.
It really solidified in my head, though, when Arica tells her she really was coming here to do a peace pact with you. And I was like, that's the alternate reality I had in my head where they could have had a peace pact.
Yes, they could have.
Yeah, I loved because that's the point. I love that when you thought Claire was going to go to her, maybe they were going to work together against David Wheel and they could unite the city. And they should have. All along, they should have united the city.
And then
Effing David Wheel.
And then
Yeah.
And Claire makes a mistake too. I mean, that's
Sure.
and
that's Claire's big flaw there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she learns from it. Hopefully, I mean, that's when she saw the blood stain, she realized what she had killed the wrong person, and
she did a great job with that.
She did a fantastic job. She didn't even have to say the words; you can see it on her face.
The subtext of the blood stain was great.
Yeah.
But now she's in a city that's falling apart.
Yeah, and she could just like raise up her gun and do the same thing to the to the person she now knows is her problem, Arica.
Right.
But now we are starting. We get a little bit reason to sympathize, I guess, with Arica with this flashback.
Oh, we get to the flashback that was cut off.
So go ahead. You guys talk about your thing, and I'll go ahead and give you a little more of the story that we didn't get to see.
Yeah, well, in the flashback, we meet her dad, and we see like what she went through as a kid that like sort of made her distrustful and like sort of willing to betray people. She saw that like the guy that got out like theoretically survived because he sacrificed other people to make it, and she lost her dad because he was too noble to leave. I mean, Jackie, what did you think?
I guess I did feel it's interesting because when you guys came in, you said this flashback was cut off, and I was thinking that's exactly how I felt watching it, because I feel like there were so many questions unanswered that it felt like the flashback was intended to bring up. I was thinking, okay, like, where is this plane? Why isn't it moving? Like, why are they being attacked? Are they, because they are talking about going home, are they actually, like, is home La Jolla where Helena is home somewhere else, and they're not going to make it? And
she lives on that plane. That's Helena.
and I guess it's also the question of, now that her dad has died, like, was that her impetus for setting up the city, or is she the person who set up the city?
Well, we have some answers if you want them.
Yes.
So Eureka, the story that, for time and things like that. By the way, Segan did a great job. I think Segan's the editor of this episode, and she did a fantastic job of kind of having to make it a little shorter. This is what happens. Right. Like, we have so many stories to tell, and we
it's our fault, by the way, that it's cut off. We always write too much script.
So Eureka, the story that continued after her father died, they get the door closed, but they realize if they stay there, they're going to die. Marcus has left them. He's betrayed them. And they still have Bryce, the other guy, there, and they decide they're going to draw straws to decide who's going to stay behind to distract the 8-ball so the other ones can make the run for it.
And we had set up that Bryce had a plan with Marcus to betray him.
That stayed in the show.
It did stay in the show.
Yeah.
He actually said he left without me. He's like, and so we knew that he was also another man that basically got Eureka's father killed.
Yeah, and so the man that was most important to Eureka, because we know Helena is basically a city of women, was her father, of course, and he was a real idealist, and her mother was not. Her mother was a very pragmatist, who we hinted at that I don't think really, that had some mental health issues. But anyway, they draw straws, and there's a distraction in it, and basically Daria ends up with the short straw, but Eureka breaks Bryce's straw. And she says, Bryce stays behind. At first he's going to fight, but then he stays behind, and she's like, I'll tell your wife you died a hero, Eureka. So Eureka looks like a really good person. They get out of the plane. They run. I think there was actually a shot of it. I saw it on Tumblr. Someone had said, there's a shot of them running, and we didn't get to see that scene. They run away. They get away, the 3 women, including the injured doctor.
Using Bryce as bait.
Yeah, and then we see that Eureka's been holding the whole time the broken. I think they actually used tongue depressors because they were on a medical mission, but the broken tongue depressor is in her hand, gripped, and Daria realizes what Eureka has done for her, basically. She set Bryce up because, she was already forming this opinion about, the men who had betrayed her and that her father was the one holding her together. And that's where she hardens. I mean, we see that in the show, I think, when she does such a good...
It still does it really well.
Yeah. Shivani did such a good job. She, when she wipes the tear away and you see her hand and you're like, she's never going to cry like that again. She's never going to allow herself that kind of weakness. And we see that, we've seen that through her character now. And
she was a completely different character in the flashback, which I appreciate.
Even her accent is 20 years less cultured. It was great.
She did a great job.
Do you want to tell him what Rohit means? Her father's name is Rohit. What Rohit means?
Rohit's a very popular name. But it means red, and it means. It meant red shirt.
He was our red shirt.
Aww. I don't even think Vaughn knew that. I was just like, here's our red shirt, he's going to die. But it's also a very beautiful name, I think. Yeah. He did a great job. So
okay, so we're running low on time. Oh, okay. So I want to get into Claire and Gates in this episode, because there's about to be some serious drama. The love romp is going to be bent all out of shape, because just as Gates, I loved Gates in this episode.
I did too, because there was that moment where, again, I was like, is he really going to betray Claire? Because he's crazy about Claire.
And I thought he might when he sees that Alex is back. I thought that might be his well, I'm just going to get out of here.
Because he discovers that Alex is her soldier, her baby daddy.
Your soldier's back.
Yeah.
But there's not. I didn't even have a lot to say to it because I just I loved his his badass moment of I found this flower in your place and now I'm cured. You're gonna die.
That was clever though. I appreciate him as a character because he's very worldly, where he can figure things out.
And knew where to go. He went to Erika's apartment to get the.
And that was science-y.
Yeah.
Well, science-ish.
Yeah.
There was some.
That was TV science.
I feel like out of all the characters, Gates would be the most likely to be able to figure those kinds of things out.
He's supposed to be the brainy guy.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't buy it
The
if
Bill
Claire.
Gates character.
If that had happened, where Claire was I found this flower and I matched all the things, I'd be like, no, you didn't, Claire. You didn't do that.
She's super smart too.
She's smart, but just not in that kind of
he's
worldly
the book,
way.
He's the book guy.
Yeah.
And he's smart. He was 19 when the world fell, so he was smart before.
16.
And didn't he go to MIT or something?
Yeah.
And that's why Erika wants to steal him. She definitely doesn't want to kill him. At first I thought it might be a trick, but then when she says I want you to come with me, it's because she was going to use him for all of his talents.
Everything she does for Helena.
And that would almost be, I think, in her mind, a win. Whatever they couldn't get out of Vega, just getting Gates would transform her city, probably save them.
Gates
I want to say one more thing. We remember when she shot Rose in the head, and that was really cold-blooded?
Yes.
The flashback was also supposed to speak to that. She hates 8 balls more than anything in the world.
Because they killed her.
Because they
killed her father.
That's why.
She has no, even though Rose...
Her and David Wheel see eye to eye on 8 balls. Both of their families were destroyed.
Yeah. That was just that was kind of answering that cold-blooded thing that she did there.
Yeah, so real quick, let's talk about Claire's decision-making in this episode, because Claire... she sees Alex and Michael and Noma out on the
And she sees Alex
field.
kiss Noma, or Noma kiss Alex.
In a great close-up, they have very good cameras.
You got to.
That's
You
the
got
Vega
to.
kiss cam.
Yeah.
Everyone claps.
It is Vegas. I think that's probably just left over from Vegas. There are cameras that just find that and zoom in on
It's
it.
usually not kissing, but
Yeah.
that's what they call it.
Okay.
But
Sometimes there's kissing.
But so Claire just decides to take the troops off of the trench, the nuclear
David
reactor.
battle Civil War situation.
But then she does save them, and as soon as Alex and Claire Jacque, I'm curious how you read this, because they just instantly were oh my God, I love you, I haven't seen you in forever.
Well, I think it's also, I was we have a commenter who the title of the comment is Alex is a doofus, and I feel like that sentiment pops up a lot in my head. I'm you're being a doofus. And in this episode where he knows he's a dad and he sees her, and I'm the first thing you should do is ask about your baby, and he's waiting, and I'm oh, Alex, you're such a doofus. And she finally tells him what happened to the baby, and they have that emotional moment. And it's hard now for us to see in future episodes. Okay, well, how does he go back to Noma after he's had this heavy emotional moment with Claire now that they're back together? And I guess Noma kind of realizes that at the end of the episode.
All 3 of them. Not Gates really, but all 3 of them are completely different people than they were when they broke apart. And hopefully you saw a little bit of that in this episode, and you're going to see that moving forward as well with the rhombus.
Yeah.
So it might just be 2 lines.
2 lines running
or
parallel.
An octagon.
Maybe.
Octodad.
I could see them just staying in the pairs they are now and continuing on. But part of me still likes Alex and Claire together.
See, I'm Alex and Noma. Just putting that out there.
I mean, that's the thing is I really like Noma and I really like Gates, and both of them have sacrificed so much for the person that they love. But I still like Alex and Claire together for some reason.
Is it the hair?
Claire's hair? I mean, I love
Well, Claire and
hair.
Alex both have good hair.
I've been shipping Gates and the Prophet. That's just me.
Twist.
Oh, whoops.
I ship Pete and everybody.
All right.
Pete.
All right, guys. And we did
Poor
get
Pete.
we did get a big moment between Claire and Alex, and like Jackie was just talking about. But we are out of time, so let's do really quick round of predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Jackie, what are you thinking?
We should do our predictions too.
Yeah, you guys should do
I
your
predict on
prediction.
Thursday, episode 210 is going to be on.
Mark Halsey, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, written by Mark Halsey.
I predict that Alex and Michael, at least if they don't bring Noma with them, are going to go back east and see the man in the yellow hat.
Yeah. I agree. I think they're going to definitely head for. I think Alex has to get back, and Alex
Eventually,
and Michael have
not
to
in the
make
next
it
episode
back.
because they have like a whole war situation going on.
I mean, Gates and Alex are going to have to work together. That's going to be real awkward. I'm excited for that. But I think
I predict that's going to be super good.
I mean,
awesome.
my prediction on that storming of the nuclear reactor, I think you're going to wind up just knocking out all the power, and that's sort of the beginning of the end
That's what
for
we
Vega.
saw, though. We saw the power beginning to be knocked out on the little grid.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, like, I think they're going to blow up the reactor.
My prediction based on...
This is the start, I think, of the end of Vega, where the whole city is just going to collapse by the finale.
Someone wrote, Pete's had a very good survival rate considering his being an 8-ball. Hey, we love Pete. We just want him to be human again.
Survivor. He will always be there. Just so I hope somebody
We are
evict
team Pete.
him.
We are team Pete.
Somebody
We
evict
have always,
Manathas.
Sean and I have always been Team Pete. I'm not
Big
going to
time.
say there may be other people who have not Mark Halsey been Team Pete, but
Right, but Mark Halsey, team Pete is the best team. He's on Team Edward or something. That's not even our show. It's a movie. Mark Halsey loves sparkly vampires.
Well, I'm very excited to see what happens next. There's only
think I'm shedding.
4 episodes left in this season, and that feels like it's gone so fast. I'm so excited to see more. Do you guys have any parting words for
which
us?
is ironic because being in the room with you for 7 months was so
long. Marathon of hell.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. We've had a good time, and it's exciting for us to see it all happen too.
Yeah.
I'm really-
And I love these last 4 episodes. I really do. I
Yeah.
think you get a lot of answers.
So where can the guys keep up with you? Do you have any work coming out soon? I know, Alyssa, you're not on Twitter, but hashtag Alyssa Clark.
1 Minute Time Machine. I don't know if people have seen it. We're out pitching the TV series version of it. It's a
Cool.
5-minute viral video out there called 1 Minute Time Machine.
It's very funny.
On YouTube?
On YouTube, yeah. If you like science fiction,
your
if you like
Twitter?
comedy, at Sean E. Crouch.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Jackie Borowski?
I'm at 123Jackie_B.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson, ThatZachWilson. And a bunch of shows here after is coming up the fall. We don't have time to list them, but I assure you there's a bunch of them.
Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
And they're all super fun.
Guys, I'm Zach Wilson. Thanks for geeking out with us.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.